Ladies and gentlemen, thank you as always for tuning into the channel. Today we have a interesting one. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on all of this because it's something you don't see very often, and undoubtedly I think this is needs to get more exposure than it's currently getting. So that's why I'm here to talk about it with all of you today. So what the heck am I rambling on about? The Republican Party in the United States recently proposed a new bill that would essentially change the entire tax system in the United States and essentially abolish the IRS. Now, let's discuss the specifics. And again, I would love to know your guys' thoughts down below, because as of right now, aside from, the cult people that are only supportive of Republicans or only supportive of Democrats, when you have your actual people that can think freely, those people, you guys, I want to know your thoughts down below on this bill. So, the proposal is that the Republicans want to implement a 23% tax on all sales, products, and services. Now, in exchange for that, we would be receiving 0% federal income tax, 0% capital gains tax, 0% estates tax, and 0% for businesses as well. That is quite insane to even be brought to the table when you first hear it. But then I started to actually think about it, and quite honestly, I think it's low-key genius. And remember, guys, maybe you don't know, but I'm independent. I don't give a fuck about the Republicans. I don't give a fuck about the Democrats. I am simply a free thinker. I think logically about scenarios, and I know that's how most of you are as well. So I got to thinking about this. Is this actually a good idea? Now, you obviously, when you think about something being a good idea, someone that has decency doesn't just think about, is it a good idea for themselves, but they think about, is it a good idea for the whole of the community, in this case, the United States. And I got thinking, and I think it's a really interesting, plausible, good idea. Could there be some tweaks? Sure, whatever. But if you really think about it, this would be an absolute game changer for not just the citizens of the United States, but also on a geopolitical scale, guys. So essentially, every single dollar you make from your job, you pay no tax on to the government. That percentage right now fluctuates. The average person probably pays anywhere between 15 to 20% of their income to the government every single paycheck. On top of that, every single dollar you make in profit from investments, trading, whatever, you get to keep, which should have been a thing for the longest time. I think the capital gains tax, and I'm not just saying that because I'm an investor, but I think that would be unreal for everyone to really be able to capitalize on investing. Aside from that, you also have 0% estate tax, which is a huge plus, not having to worry about paying that every year. And then also businesses don't have to pay taxes federally as well. So essentially what this would probably cause is, of course, you have that 23% tax on all products and services. But at the end of the day, guys, over the past year, we've already been dealing with well over 100% in inflation on most products. And they claim it's 9%, 8%. But I know you guys can agree with me, a dozen eggs, a gallon of milk have gone up way, way more than 9%. And you also have to factor in a lot of these companies are implementing shrinkflation, which is essentially the process of decreasing the amount of product you get and still increasing the price just by a smaller margin. So it looks like it's not going up that much, but it really is because you're getting less product. So that's been happening for the past years. Now, yes, would this 23% make everything more expensive? Obviously. But I genuinely think what this would essentially cause is more people to be a little more open-minded with their spending, because most people buy a bunch of bullshit all the fucking time for no damn reason. I'm guilty of it myself. But I genuinely think this would, if you get your full paycheck, it could be the opposite, It might be like reverse psychology. When you get your full paycheck, you have more money, so you think you can go spend more, but you're obviously paying that 23%. Now, ideally, I do not believe this would apply to groceries, as it doesn't right now, specific groceries, but if you want a can of Coke, obviously that's going to be taxed. But when it comes to your normal necessities of food, there is no federal tax on that, sales tax. What I also believe this would incentivize is for the United States to really be a massive hub globally again for jobs and businesses. Because obviously over the past 20 years, the majority of onshore businesses went offshore. It was simply cheaper to go to China. It was cheaper to go to India to run your operations with cheap labor. And that's a whole nother topic right there. But aside from that, if you have a country that's essentially allowing you to operate with no taxes, aside from state tax, depending where you live, that would be insane. Why wouldn't you want to run your operation in essentially the most powerful country in the world, economically and obviously military, with the military? I genuinely think that makes a lot of sense when you look at it that way. When you look at it from the aspect of people actually utilizing this to benefit their lives, make their lives better, being able to save more money, being able to invest and not have to worry about capital gains tax, and also, of course, a lot more businesses would be able to open, a lot of more small businesses. This would allow a lot more entrepreneurs to come out of the woodwork and get more creative and try stuff without running the risk of, running up a massive tax bill or having a bunch of convoluted paperwork. So yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, guys. This is a bill. It's just a bill as of now. Obviously, the Republicans obviously have the House, which is a good plus for them. But I genuinely think this could be good. Initially the 23% that they were imposing was 30%, which is a smidge steep. I will admit that. But 23% is pretty reasonable in my opinion. It really is, considering, there are people that pay that in income tax already. Being able to actually get every single dollar you work for, and then also every single dollar you make in investments you get to keep, and in exchange you just have to pay 23% more on a pair of fucking AirPods. That genuinely makes so much sense to me, and I'm all for it. So, like I said, I would love to know your guys' thoughts on this bill that's potentially going to be passed. It's going to be a challenging one to get passed, but it's one that got my attention, and I'm sure it's getting a lot of people's attention. Now, again, I am independent. I like to think freely. I don't like to be a part of any sort of group, but I do find it fascinating right now. When you pay attention to the majority of Democrats or even Joe Biden on social media, they're rambling on right now saying that the Republicans are trying to pass a 30% increase or increased tax on products and services, but they're failing to mention all the other pros that come along with it. So, of course, you know, anyone that just looks at that caption and they're just scrolling and they look at it real quick, they're going to think, that's insane. That is absolutely crazy. But when you look at the fine details, you know, I genuinely think a good amount of Americans would be maybe for that, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, I genuinely appreciate you for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next.